Okay? Look. Just look. I know that you're saying to yourself, Wesley, your game is 166% done. Why isn't it released yet? And to that, I say sorry, but also it is that thing now. There's a couple of things that I need to add and tweak to the game, as well as adding a live system, but as of right now, the game has an itch page, and the link is down below, and as soon as Google gets around to confirming that it's not malicious software, then it will also be on the Google Play Store. This week I managed to add a few more things that needed to be in the game, as well as some new tool types and achievements. I badly burned more than half of my body in the sun, and I managed to finally release the game. But before we get into the video, my name is Helper Wesley, I've made these games, and I make weekly devlogs. So the last thing that needed to be done with the game is for it to have a title. And I decided to use this word, despite being advised by at least a handful of people to not do that. Some of them said it sounds like cop, some of them said it sounds like corpse, and most of them said it doesn't make any sense. But the word cops is the same as thicket and boskage and things like that basically mean little forest. So the game's title is basically Little Forest Village Clicker. So one of the things that needed to be done with the game was the fact that it just goes on forever, and at a certain point you run out of upgrades. And so I capped the game off at day 30. This way you have a goal to reach, but you also don't just go on forever until it gets boring. So if you manage to get to day 30, you get this win screen, at which point all of your progress gets deleted and everything starts over again. And since the game goes to day 30, and you can get the gold pickaxe and tools by like day 10 or 12-ish, I figured it definitely needs more tool types and more levels to get to. And so I decided to add in gem-colored tools, specifically emerald, and I wanted to go with ruby, but the red turned into this weird color and almost turned brown like the handle. So I went with amethyst instead, and then finally diamond. And hopefully this will be enough levels of upgrading so that people have enough things to get before they reach day 30. And I have to give myself a little pat on the back here, because the way that I set up the game is that I just need to add in new images for each level, and they automatically get picked by the scaling level. So pat on the back to past me for doing a good job. And now that the game goes up to day 30 and repeats, I need to give the players a reason to go back into the game again. And so I decided to go with achievements. And that way when you finish the game once, you check your achievements and you're like, well, I missed this one. And I'm setting this up the same way so that I can just add in more images and continue to scale achievements over and over and over again until I find a nice number. This isn't integrated with any of the Google Play Store's functionality or anything like that. It's just achievements within the game itself. So I picked 6 achievements to start out with, and I think you can spot the joke one that's in there. Somebody in our Discord had a really hard time doing the fishing minigame, and so I put that one in there as a little joke. It might confuse some people, other people might just ignore it, but since I'm only expecting this game to get like a couple dozen downloads, it doesn't matter. I set up the achievements so that when the scene starts, if the achievement variable hasn't been ticked up to 1, then it darkens that image down. And so when the scene starts into the main title screen, if you have that achievement unlocked, it'll leave it alone, and then you'll be able to see which ones you have and which ones you don't have, because they'll be darker and lighter colors. Setting up menus can actually be a bit of a troublesome thing when you first start out, especially for somebody like me who doesn't actually look up tutorials. So when I started out, I just did something that worked. And later down the road, I ran into some other game developers who had a good laugh at me because I didn't know how toggle states worked for button presses. And so I was using timers. So when you click on a button and then release the button again, it would start a timer, and then you have X amount of time before the timer stops. And that way you couldn't double press on a button because the timer would be the thing that stopped you from doing it. And so every single button on every piece of UI and every interactable had a timer, which was kind of unnecessary. So I set up the achievements in-game to show up whenever you get them, if you didn't already have the achievement beforehand. And after setting up the code and playtesting it, nothing worked. After trying to figure out what the heck was going wrong with it, because looking at it, it should be working properly, I had set up some key bindings to use as quick commands to change the variable to what it needs to be so that the thing will trigger. So I'd set it for 1, 2, and 3 to trigger the day 10, day 20, and day 30 achievement. But I thought I had put them onto my number pad 1, 2, and 3, and after 10 minutes of searching and trying to figure it out, I realized I had mapped them to my 1, 2, and 3 on the number bar on top of the keyboard. Okay, so after I was done being stupid, I added some particle effects and a ding sound when you get the achievement, and now it looks like this. And hopefully that will make it satisfying to actually get the achievement. Because the more lights and colors and sounds, the more our little brains go, wee! All joking aside, that actually is a good thing to keep in mind. The brighter and more colorful and the louder things are, the more likely we are to take note and appreciate them. For the same reason that fireworks are, exciting to look at. So once I had all the achievements working and the name and new tools and all that stuff, the game is technically finished. Although you can never really finish a game, it's just being in a releasable state. So the game is in a releasable state. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the link to the itch page is down below. And once Google gets around to verifying that the game isn't some kind of malware or spam or something like that, then it will be accessible on the Google Play Store. And for right now, ads are not in the game because I just haven't gotten around to it. I've been focused on making it look good and feel good more than making money off of it. But I do want to make money off of it. So this version of the game is going to be completely free with no ads or anything like that in it. And the next update that gets sent out will have ads and new houses and will hopefully have anything fixed that anybody runs across between now and then. So all of you people who would like to play my game, if you run across anything that's a bug or an issue or just doesn't seem fun to do or is hard to understand, then please let me know. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go slather myself in aloe. Oh. Ow. 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 If you like this video, maybe click on that subscribe button. And if you want to talk to me personally, the link to our Discord is down below. It's called the Game Dev Fireside, and it's a pretty cool place to hang out and talk game dev. And if you decide to click on that link, then I'll see you there.